Greetings, Minecrafters. I guess we'll give this a try today with the wind. I know that can be annoying, so maybe it won't work, but we'll give it a try. So, I'm Dr. Kimberly Quinn, and I'm here to have another exciting Minecraft discussion. And this one, the positive stress mindset. And here's the thing. I am here to help you become the boss of your thoughts so you can live your very best life. That is the plan. So I think, we all know what stress is, though people can get it confused. Stress is really refers to external things like, money, homework, jobs, relationship stress. So we say we're all stressed out. We really should be saying like we're all anxietied out, because anxiety is the response to these stressors. Now, external meaning, outside here, but we obviously also can create stress in here, but that's what I mean by external. And anxiety is then the response to the stress. So I'm still pushing for, there they are, I'm still pushing for therapy goats at Champlain, because I think it's very clear that they reduce anxiety, except when they give you the occasional headbutt, but that's just because they're trying to, step out of their lane. That's their nature, right? Okay, so stress, a lot of people, a lot of times we think about stress, we go straight back to, 5th grade health class or something where, there's a whole list of things, and you think of, blood pressure going up, and, arteries closing in on you, and then that leads to strokes and heart attacks and, a short life and, impending death and all this stuff. And though all of that is true, to a degree, really, it sort of starts kids out with a really negative idea of really what's going on. And obviously it's important to manage stress and sometimes reduce it, and it's also, in my opinion, it's very important to shift into or lean into, I like the way that sounds too, shift over to or lean into a positive stress mindset. So here's how it works. We got to first separate, think of what the stressors are, because some of them we just have to work with. If somebody's working with, a medical condition or something like that, and then there's lots of smaller stressors that we really don't need to get so amped up about. And even if they feel large, you've got that tightness in the chest thing, it's really important to sort of examine these first, because stress does have a positive job. It has a role, much like anger. Anger gets such a bad rap, and it has a very important job to do. So stress also points us towards what's truly important to us. And when we realize that, instead of going, oh my God, I have this huge presentation at work and everybody's going to be watching and da, 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 maybe it's a situation where, wow, I'm so excited to present to my colleagues. I put so much work into this. I've acquired some really current articles to support what I'm trying to say, and I'm looking forward to the discussion that it elicits, and da 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 da. And this is it's such a much healthier, more enjoyable way to perceive stress. Now obviously that's not going to work for getting some horrible phone calls, some really bad medical news. This is meant for like most everything else that isn't on that level, right? So, and it's a great example for work and school, and also many of what stresses that go on in relationships. But think about that, when we also, with realizing stress can have a positive role, that's sort of the first step, and then realizing that words are so powerful. We were talking about it with gratitude, I think that was even this morning. It's having so much fun. It's all blending. How important words are. We're talking about the written word and everything else. And with the positive stress mindset, we're just talking about changing our vocabulary. It's just so important. So words that are so polarized, that don't exist in life, like always and never and everyone and no one. I mean, think about that. Always. That's 24/7, 365 a year plus leap year. That's just not even real. This always happens at work. Well, that's enough to make anybody want to dive under a rock, right? Or so-and-so never listens, and da-da-da. Never, it also is 24/7, 365 plus leap year and holidays. I mean, it's just nuts. So when we get rid of some of these words, this can really be helpful to our head, because I think we don't realize how strong they are. They're so automatic. Most of us, many of us, walk around speaking like this without realizing the toll it's taking on us. Even when we say things like, oh, there goes my anxiety again, it always seems to show up just when I have to do something important. Well, think about what that's doing to the mind. Like, always. That's so defeating. And we talked about it in an earlier episode, I remember. I can see it right here, right down by Caesar. That's Caesar. He looks like a little caramel candy. He's a little bit of a strange goat, but he's very friendly. He's very friendly. He's a little caramel. Hi, Caesar. See, so I am really pushing for therapy goats because they definitely reduce anxiety. Not even joking. When I smuggled them into Champlain numerous times when they were babies, I cannot tell you how many thank yous I got from students, which I wasn't even looking for. I was just trying to bring them in. They're cute, and they were thanking me because they actually said how much their anxiety went down. And there was one student in there, it was his birthday, and he said that he stayed after, told me privately it was the best birthday he ever had, holding the baby goats and feeding them milk. And speaking of stress, animals obviously are really good for reducing anxiety. And yeah, so I'm just keep pushing that because they are super therapeutic. They can also be a little spicy. Okay, so back to the stress mindset thing. We can begin by starting to, it's all about awareness, right? Once we get it, we can't do what we don't know. Once we get it, we can really start to make changes. And so realizing and sort of deprogramming is a good word because we are so programmed from the ground up for different things. And just like we can reprogram a computer, actually do a full-blown reboot, if that's what you need to do, to realize that stress is not a bad word. Stress is a motivator. It only is bad when we don't manage it or lean into it. And obviously like we said before, there are certain things that won't work for, serious medical conditions and obviously a tragedy and something like that. We're talking about regular life stress, even big stress. And we look at, if we start to kind of, lean into the ones that are possible to lean into and change our words, that instead of even, let's say in college, I've got this big presentation. That works for college. It works for if you're a professional out in the world. Switch it up. Instead of Tuesday, dread. Oh no, everybody's looking at me. Oh no, I'm in front of people. Instead, try to realize that everybody who's in the audience is human. They know what it's like to stand up there too. And think about yourself when you're sitting watching a presentation. Do you sit there saying, oh, they just stuttered. Oh, they lost their spot. Oh, that reference wasn't as current as it could have been. I mean, I really doubt that. People are way too selfish to think that way anyway. We're mostly, especially if it's students who are presenting one after the other, they're thinking about their own presentation. So realize that to begin with, and then realize that you put a lot of effort in. If you put a lot of effort in, be excited. Be so excited to share it with your colleagues and be excited for what they might say, and jumping in on the topic. And that was just one example. Even if it's, let's say, even if you're all stressed out about or anxietied out about a dentist appointment, it might just be a cleaning, but it's not your thing. Poor dentist. I don't think anybody likes going to the dentist, except little kids because they don't know yet. They like to go and get the toys and their own little toothpaste. But the rest of us are like, not so much. But we can still be excited about the dentist because we can be excited that once we go to the dentist, it's over. We can even say that in our heads. I'm so excited to go to the dentist. I'm even going to be there early so I get right in, because then I'll have closure with the dentist for another 6 months. Or if it's a root canal situation, it's the last one. I've had that. They're not fun. And switch that out. So we can be excited even because something will then be done. And there's closure. It's just so good. And then remember again to try really hard to delete the polarized words such as everything, always, no one, never, all these all or nothing type responses, because they just don't, there we go. They just don't do justice to our heads. They just don't do it. So there you go. Positive stress mindset. Mindset is everything. We're going to be talking about this more. There goes the wind. I'm really sorry. I can't apologize for the wind. I'm not like the creator of all things. So I don't know what I said that for. There's the wind. Let's acknowledge the wind. Be grateful for the wind. I just sit right back down. I think here it's a little bit less. I just prefer to walk around. All right, so that's it. So, and, not only that, but once we start to develop a positive stress mindset, and once we are sort of developing more positive, thinking, and we're sort of leaking that out of our pores, positivity is so freaking contagious. It's awesome. So when we start to change our own thinking in a very real sense, we're kind of doing our part to change the world. And I don't mean that lightly. And I don't mean being preachy and correcting people, because no one likes those people. I'm just saying, just be your authentic self and just do your genuine thing. The positivity will spread itself, and we will literally be a step or maybe even an inch closer to a freer, happier, more peaceful, joyful, authentic world. Lean into a positive stress mindset today. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from Northern Vermont.